We have two presenters, Alyssa Gilmore, Bloomberg's head of analyst relations, and Beth Torrey, the founder of Torrey Communications. Bloomberg has leveraged architect projects for a long time and is now an early adopter of our new project manager module. In their presentation, Alyssa and Beth will highlight 3 use cases on how they leverage architect's project manager functionality. Alyssa and Beth?
Hi, Ed.
Thanks, Ed. I'm going to pull up the slides. Can you see that? Alyssa, can you see the slides?
I can see it.
Looks
Yes.
good.
Perfect. Great. Thanks.
Awesome. Lots of thumbs ups.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. So very excited to be here today. Thank you very much for inviting us. As mentioned, as Ed mentioned, I've been using Architect for more years than I care to recount, because that would let you all know how long I've been doing analyst relations, and then you'd have an idea how old I am. So I'm not going to do that. But suffice it to say, it's been a very, very long time. And I honestly don't think I could be doing analyst relations the way that we've been doing it for that many years without it. So thank you very much. And then thank you for your continued innovation and investment in the platform. What we're going to talk about today is something that's fairly new, both to us and to you. And so we're excited to be able to show how we're using it. We'll introduce ourselves on the next slide. Beth actually made us a whole nice little presentation. So as I alluded, I've been doing analyst relations for quite a long time at this point. I started doing analyst relations as a head of product marketing many years ago in the financial technology space. I continued doing it as a marketer before fully focusing on analyst relations while I was at SunGard and building the analyst relations department at SunGard Financial Systems, which no longer exists as part of FAS. After that, I came to Bloomberg, where they actually recruited me to come here and build an analyst relations program. But a year after I got here, they changed their minds and asked me instead to take on the corporate communications leadership role for Bloomberg's financial products businesses. So that is all of our commercial technology and product management businesses at Bloomberg for financial technology. So not our newsroom, not Mike's philanthropy, but virtually everything else in the space. That's what I do today. I'm the head of communications for that group. I lead a completely blended team. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And for the last almost 6 years, I have been incredibly dependent on my friend and advisor, Beth Torrey, to help us build out the analyst relations program that I no longer could uniquely focus on doing. Beth?
Thank you, Alyssa, and thanks to the AR Insights team. Thanks for having us. This is great. So happy to see so many familiar names in the chat. This is going to be a fun presentation. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth Torrey. I've been doing analyst relations for over 20 years. I came up through the more traditional route of public relations and integrated marketing. I was in-house at a bunch of different software companies. I did 5 startups to exit. And 5 years ago, I started my own analyst relations consulting company. And one of my first clients was Bloomberg. And we've been working together very happily ever since. Alyssa has an amazing team, really sharp people. The entire Bloomberg company is just ridiculously smart. They're much smarter than the analysts, which presents its own challenges many times. But we have a great presentation that we put together for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Can we go to the next slide?
All right, so this is literally our book. And the reason that I asked Beth to include this is literally just so I could take a moment and tell you a small amount about Bloomberg. Bloomberg is many things to many different people. First of all, Bloomberg is a man. He is Michael Bloomberg, a three-time mayor of New York City, billionaire philanthropist, and somebody who's very, very passionate about providing information and innovative technology that helps run the financial markets globally. He was, one of 4 people who invented the Bloomberg terminal. And for the last 40 years, the Bloomberg terminal has arguably been the leading source of real-time market data for participants in the global capital markets. Our focus is always on providing transparency. What we are trying to do at Bloomberg is to surface as much high-quality information for our users to use in making actionable investment decisions, whether those are securities investment decisions or whether those are decisions about how best to invest in their own businesses to be successful in whatever sector they happen to be in. Our customers include financial professionals who are active participants in financial markets, as well as professionals who are running large corporations or who are actively charting government initiatives. So we have a wide variety of customers. At last count, there are over 350,000 users of the Bloomberg terminal. And they use that to consume all sorts of information, including our own news, third-party news, our own research, third-party research, and more data and analytics than I can possibly need. So we're going to go through a couple of things here. We're going to talk a little bit about what analyst relations looks like at Bloomberg. Then we're going to talk about why we started using projects as a way to organize our practice. Beth is going to take us through 3 particular projects that we're going to share with you, and then we can open up for Q&A. Certainly, as we go through, though, if you've got questions, throw them in the chat. I'm happy to just stop and engage as well. You certainly don't need to just listen to me and Beth talk for half an hour. So, as I mentioned, I have a completely blended team. What does that mean? As a corporate communications team, my team practices media relations, analyst relations, other influencer relations. We do sensitive customer communications, crisis communications, incident management. We do customer support communications, and we are the de facto market insights department for our part of Bloomberg. And a lot of that is down to the fact that we hold all of the analyst subscriptions. We also provide, in addition to analyst research, we also provide and manage enterprise-wide subscriptions to important trade publications and other sources of market intelligence that are critical to different parts of our business. We do that. Every person on my team does all of those things to some extent. Most of the folks on my team started as media relations professionals. We've been teaching them analyst relations. A couple of them came in with some degree of analyst relations capability, but this is it is a way of, I think, building a far more well-rounded group of people who have a large set of tools that we can use to help drive business goals. We pair that with a very strong sense of business and industry acumen. So to the second point here, we need to move fast. Financial markets move fast, Bloomberg moves fast, and my team's expected to move very, very quickly. So we're highly responsive to breaking news, and we know all the breaking news because it's breaking over the Bloomberg terminal. So we see it, we say something. And we need to be able to understand what is necessary for our business to address in any given situation through all the channels that we have to reach our customers and other invested audiences. So when we when we create a communications campaign, we look at all of the channels that we would use, whether those are going to be through the media, through analysts, through academics, through other influential channels, whether we use our owned channels as well. We'll work directly with our marketing team on that, but we shape those strategies and we usually have to shape them very quickly. I mentioned some of the different types of communications that we're responsible for. The majority of our, and I'll come back to the analysts in just one second. But another thing to note is that the majority of the technology that we use here is the Bloomberg terminal. So we like to drink our own champagne. We built the Bloomberg terminal for our customers and for ourselves. So majority of our workflow is within the Bloomberg terminal. That includes our messaging. It includes a lot of our workflows, a lot of our doc storage. We do use other applications as well, most notably Microsoft Office Suite, but the majority of our workflow is on proprietary technology. That presents some efficiencies and also some challenges, and that's why I mentioned this. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, because the nature of our business, the nature of our customers, we operate under very strict corporate security and compliance policies. Parts of our business are regulated entities. Nearly all of our customers are. So we need to be really cautious about the way we handle information, even the information that we submit in analyst RFIs. And I'm going to come back to the fourth point here now, which is that the way that we use analysts at Bloomberg is extremely bidirectional. As I mentioned earlier, we are the de facto market insights department for our part of Bloomberg. A lot of that is comprised by analyst research. We have a central repository for analyst research. We negotiate library licenses with a lot of our firms. No, don't, before you ask me, not Gartner and not Forrester. But many of the firms that specialize in the areas that are most important to us, we negotiate library licenses and we maintain an internal archive for easy access by our product and sales teams to that information. So a big part of our activity is in learning. However, we also maintain a very healthy engagement and outreach program in order to ensure that we're accurately represented in analyst research and that we're able to use good results advantageously in our sales enablement processes. I cover it all, Beth?
Solid.
Excellent. All right. So I'm going to tee Beth up on this, and she's actually going to talk a little bit more about this. I mentioned earlier, most of our workflows are within proprietary technology. However, it isn't always easy for us to be able to access the intelligence that we need, in this case, for instance, about hundreds or thousands of analysts and how we engage with them, and manage those workflows within our proprietary technology. It'd be really difficult, especially when there's great technology already out there that would enable us to do that. And so we're not above and beyond using the best technology out there when it is available to us. And so we've been using Architect for a very long time to manage our engagements and interactions with analysts. We've expanded that use over time to track a lot of our results for those engagements and interactions. And when I asked Beth to come on board and work with us, one of the first things we set out to do was figure out how do we optimize our use of Architect here at Bloomberg, given the way that we wanted to be able to manage our projects and follow them from end to end. And so with Beth's help, we've taken full advantage, I think, of the functionality that's available. I think we might have done a little bit of bespoke work along the way as well. Thank you, Crystal, to get us to a place where we believe we're now able to very efficiently manage analyst relations projects within Architect in a way that makes a lot of sense to us and enables us to capture a lot of data that helps us with continuous improvement. And Beth, I'll hand it over to you to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we are the perfect candidate for project management because we're project-based architect implementation. So we've been project-based for 5 years. Every interaction is cleaned up and assigned to a project, whether it be a specific RFP or a custom research project. We have all types of different kinds of projects, and when we are trying to always become more efficient, right? It's a global team. There's a lot of complex communication going on at all times. A lot of it's confidential. Like this is a very challenging use of technology, but we've come up with a couple of different ways to make more efficiencies using Project Manager. And so we're going to walk you through a couple of examples. A little challenging, not a live demo by any means, because we can't show you any of the live data, but if you have specific questions, we can try to answer them. The first example, we'll do three examples here. And the first example, something that Bloomberg does a lot of is custom research. And so I get that a lot of AR people don't do any custom research, but it really is important, and it's challenging. For a comms person that doesn't do a lot of market research, there's a lot of steps involved in it. And so if you look at the top bar, we put in all the different stages that we see in doing a custom research project. And so typically, one of the comms leaders will come up with their idea to do custom research, and we talk to the business, of course, right? The business is the most important part. And we ask them tons of questions, and then we actually customized a screen here to input all of their information into the project. So we have all of that. Every time that we go into the project, we can go back and reflect on the goals. Are we meeting the goals? And then we're going to go back a slide. And then you continue to walk through the different phases of the project. And so all of these are customized to how Bloomberg does custom research, from the RFP, where we understand the goals and we request that the firms respond back. We capture all of that information, including pricing information. Then we select the firm. The firm starts to conduct the research. They review the findings, and then they publish the research, and we can choose to promote it or not. And that is actually one of the criteria that we use. Sometimes we hold on to the research because it's proprietary and going to help grow the business, and we choose not to promote it. Sometimes, and there's every single project is actually customized at Bloomberg. Sometimes they will release like one piece of data from a custom project as like a gift to the industry, and they'll make a blog out of that and promote that, but hold on to the majority of the IP. As everybody in our industry knows, custom research is traditionally pretty expensive, and so you do want to hold on to your golden insights. The second project that we chose to talk about was one of the highlights of 2023 for both Alyssa and I. Bloomberg launched an amazing product called Bloomberg GPT, which actually is not available to you unless you use the terminal.
It's also not a product. So just to be clear, we launched a research model, which is a large language model, but it is a research model. But it was very, very notable for being the first widely available domain-specific large language model. But again, it is a research model. It is not actually a product.
So the pièce de résistance from this was that we've been in 15 reports already, and this was in late spring that we did the business owner allowed us one briefing so far. So 15 mentions in Gartner research. The Gartner rep actually called us and said that competitors had called him and asked him what we had done. And we said, well, all they need to do is travel back in time 3 years and invest tons of money and build a great product, and they can get these kind of results too. They didn't think that was funny, but I did. So the other great win that we had from this was a Gartner case study, which should be publishing any day now. They asked the business owner to be part of the podcast, and we actually asked them, we pushed very hard on them and said, show some analytics. What do you know, like, what does this do for us? And we found that it was probably not the right opportunity. We believe that these analysts are keeping Bloomberg top of mind for future press. And there's other areas of influence that are going on. On the briefing, there weren't just analysts, there were Gartner executives. And so we were going back and forth in real time, like, what, you know, are they accountable to the same NDA? What does this mean? Are they going to be implementing this at Gartner? There were real time implications of all of this, but there's definitely influence going on. And we're very happy with the results. And I'm going to show you one of the screenshots from our project on this. And why I thought would be really helpful to you was to see, here's the different stages of the product on top. But the kind of cool part here is the articles. And so we have premium content, we use it pretty heavily, and we saved all of the files from premium content into the project, so that they're referenceable. And then as this becomes more and more, we'll just keep adding to them. So this is a really nice, use of Project Manager, and helps us always, we all have the same problem of showing the value of what we're doing, and showing this kind of research was really helpful, not just for this scenario, but the next time we ask a business owner for their time, we have the ability to show, hey, listen, the last time somebody did this, we were able to generate these kind of results. And so we're not just selling to the rest of the world and to the budget, but to internal business owners also, who aren't always keen to do this kind of work. And so at some companies, everybody wants to do it, and that's not always true.
So Beth, if you could go back to that page really quickly, you are so great that you somehow managed to use this next example to answer Holly's Q&A, is how do you manage the spin-off assets from custom research? So I think that this is a really good example of, even from the custom research, right? This is from one briefing where you decided, hey, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to track this in its lifespan, right? But same thing for custom research, is if that spins off into lots of other analysts doing things that go back, you can track it all together and have this type of model across the board.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really interesting question when you frame it in the context of custom research, because we could create many different types of assets, and then we could track where those actually carry through, right? So some of those could be with the originating analyst firm that we did the custom research with. We have actually seen instances where we've done custom research with one analyst firm, and it's referenced by other analyst firms, just because it's such specialized information that it's the fact that it's available to the industry prevents, they don't have to do it themselves. So they'll just reference the work that we did. Now, again, we're very verticalized. So, you know, we're working with generally people that are very interested in financial regulation, financial technology, you know, those sorts of topics. And so there's, you know, a body of work out there that's referenceable. And if we're contributing to it, we do see some pickup. We will also, and I don't know, Crystal, if you want me to talk about this, but if you don't, I'm sorry. We also often track a lot of our major media coverage in Architect and our projects as well. We shoehorn it in there. I'm not going to go into the process right now, but so for this type of project, we could also back in our media coverage and have all that in place.
So Alyssa, not to be like too pushing of an agenda, because it is your story, but exactly what you said, you know, one of our sort of visions into the future is that, you could be working on a project and then it spins something out, like a new asset or an insight that you need to take back to the business and want to see its life cycle, right? So projects is a way for you to create process to track all the things that are impacting your business. And I think it's great that you shoehorned other things, because it really illustrates the flexibility of the platform to meet your imagination. Yeah.
And for those of you who do custom research, I'm working on a project with another client now who's releasing a new set of like thought leadership custom research at right after Thanksgiving. We're doing a multi-firm analyst briefing, but one thing we did for them was generate a citation policy, so that for when the analysts that we're talking to inject their custom research into the analyst research, that we're getting the hits and like a social tag. So now that these systems are getting smarter, the meta tagging and tagging and attribution becomes how we show our value. And this is like always the big question that we're all trying to answer, right? Like, how do we map this back to a balance sheet? All this ability to become data-driven is definitely the answer. I had one more slide on this project that I wanted to show you. And just in case you're not familiar, it's a task. And so there's tons of tasks within each project. I just wanted you to see one example. And that is, remember to check Gartner for the upcoming case study, because at Bloomberg, it's not like we're sitting around waiting for the case study. This will just become like, one tiny little piece of their giant puzzle, but also a really important piece. Getting a Gartner case study is a big hit for a regular AR team, and we want to see it and we want to promote it, and so we're monitoring coverage, and that's my task. Okay, so the third project manager that we want to show is my favorite topic, which is the Forrester Wave. I see Elena's on, and Elena and I love to talk about the Forrester Wave. So I've done over 20, probably 30 now. I think I'm into 3 this year. And project manager is a great way to help you through a Forrester Wave. So while I do a lot of waves, the team at Bloomberg doesn't do many. And in fact, Alyssa, what's your claim to fame here?
I am very well known for getting out of major evaluations. So
Alyssa doesn't.
For everyone Beth does, I get out of 2.
We have a good relationship because we're yin and yang on this one. But so I love the wave. I love transparency and data, and I love the wave process. I love the competitiveness. I love to slaughter my competition. But this project manager is a great way to walk someone through a wave. So some of it we know, but when you're talking to someone who hasn't been there and there's constant changes in the wave process, putting parameters and dates in a system is a great way to help you make sure you're hitting everything. I do love the wave. Sorry, there's a little comment. So if you look at all the different stages, Crystal, I have to give a very special shout out to Crystal, who painstakingly went through this with me and helped me build this, because it's really important for Bloomberg. We're starting another wave, and I wanted to give the comms lead some guidance on how to do this, and doing it through an automated system is definitely helpful. I can also monitor her progress. Alyssa can monitor her progress. There's a lot of steps.
Alyssa can also learn how to do a wave.
Alyssa's not going to ever learn how to do a wave.
Now I'll learn how to do it.
So anybody who knows the wave, you'll understand all these different processes, but I think this is a great way to think about it. I've seen waves done through systems like Monday.com and other workflow tools. Very, very, very good. But this is like in your AR system, you customize all the names. And the nice thing about it is it's a template now. So got another wave, pull out the other template, which I think is a really good, it's great for AR people. We like our language. We like to own the little bits and things and change them very easily. And so that's my third project. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Sorry. Oh, is that it? That's it. Okay. You start with the key takeaways, Alyssa. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So, for us, again, as a blended team, as much as I personally would like to spend all my time on analyst relations, and I hope that I'm passing off that enthusiasm to my team, we just don't have that ability. So we really do need our processes and our projects to be managed efficiently. And we believe that this tool is really going to give us a great leg up there. We're definitely looking forward to seeing what more you do with it. I think we're already sort of like, pushing out the boundaries a little bit, and the amount of customization that we're doing is great. And obviously, Crystal and Eric, we could not do this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But we're really looking forward to seeing where this goes next and growing with it. It enables us to provide to apply boundaries, I think is the word that you use, Beth, boundaries and a sense of structure that not only helps us be efficient in managing these projects, but also is kicking off all this information about how we proceed through projects. How long does it take us to do things? How many people are getting involved? How often are tasks getting dropped? How often are they getting done? Right? And just, it gives me so much to work with as the head of my team to understand how I can actually make it, easier, better, more fun for my team to do these things, and for us to ultimately get, better results. And clearly, AR Insights is a great partner in all of this. I will also add that Beth Torrey is a great partner in all of this. And I certainly could not do any of this without you, Beth. So thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. But I definitely want to say thank you to Crystal. She's been there for us all the time. And Eric, if you're on, I think you're on. Hi, Eric. Thank you so much. We're extremely demanding. I subscribe to a lot of SaaS software. AR Insights, above every other software provider I work with, is always there for me, and very quickly too, which is really important running a business. So thank you always to your team. We appreciate you. You rock, Eric. I also see there's a lot of chatter on the chat about the wave. We will have a separate wave therapy call that that we can all do some work on. But thank you for the opportunity today, guys. We appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you, Beth and
think-
Alyssa. Great stuff. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Andy. Really glad to be here.
So before we move on, does anyone else have any questions about Bloomberg, how great Beth has been in keeping Alyssa in evaluations? There was one question that I just wanted to talk about that, let me see who asked it. It was a couple, Gloria, you'd asked about, are the Chevron buckets template, or are they customized? And the question is yes and yes, which sounds crazy, but you can actually, when we enable this new functionality, we can actually load up our templates, and you may look at it and be like, that's not exactly how I do things. Great, because you can actually change our template. It's really just to be a starting point for you. Or maybe you could say, there's no way you could make a template better than mine. I've got this glorious spreadsheet, Crystal and Eric, that I would love to make into software. Well, we can also help you navigate that as well. Because I know that many of you have the ultimate matrix of, 10,000 years of waves and queues and every other thing imaginable in a spreadsheet that probably doesn't load very easily. So we'll help you through all of that. So I hope that I have said enough to see if anyone, no,
There was
I think
one-
everyone's just really
There was
happy.
one
Yeah.
more that popped in, if we have a moment to answer, which was, are you able to assign tasks to contributors to RFI responses, even
Oh.
if you don't have a seat in
Oh,
Architect? And the answer is yes. So you can assign tasks to people, they'll get notifications that they go in as participants. So you enter them as a participant with their email address and they'll get a notification. We're looking at some improvements where they could maybe respond and add comments, but for now they'll get an email alert that will assign the task to them, and the owner of that task is still going to be the one to follow through or follow up. But yes, they can get alerts to things that they're responsible for. Did I answer that correctly, Anthony, or did I?
Yeah.
Is there
No,
more to
that's-
you
add
got
there?
it. Nailed it.
Okay.
And a
I
couple
I wanted to say something because that was Jerry, who's at Asana now. So Jerry, one of the best parts that I could have easily been overlooked, as Alyssa and Beth were sharing so many great things that they had said, is the great part about Project Manager is that because it's in your platform, you don't have to adhere to any corporate or enterprise business logic that's been implemented for you. So you can actually define all the rules. You know, maybe you don't like the terminology of completed, you want to see something else. Finished is the language you like, right? So everything down to that can be customized exactly to your liking. And Alyssa, you had actually mentioned that Bloomberg has a very special situation, being such a well-adopted platform, right? The terminal. And that was helps that Architect is an approved platform that you can use, and it allows you to have that flexibility and really do what you need to do that wouldn't be possible in a globally used financial platform. You know, you cannot, I'm sure your engineers are not really trying to take enhancement requests for analyst relations. So
I mean, if I ask them, but why would I when I have this?
exactly.